Christian Sion is finally settled into his new Calgary digs, but getting to home sweet home wasn't easy. No thanks to the moving company he hired.
Everything seemed to be on the up and up.
Yes, everything seemed on the up and up when he got a quote from Canadian Van Lines, a little more than $2,000 to move him from Winnipeg to Calgary. Sion paid half up front, but when the movers arrived, things started to unravel.
I get a call from the representative at Canadian Van Lines asking for the second half of the money at that time as they're picking it up. That should have just been the biggest alarm bell, and I should have just shut it down right there. But half of my stuff was already packed up and on a truck. I didn't know if I said no what would happen.
Sion felt boxed in by the deal, so he paid the company the rest of the money. After all, what could go wrong? It was a straightforward move from Winnipeg to Calgary. Problem is, his belongings ended up in a storage locker in a completely different province.
They took my stuff all the way to Saskatoon. According to them, they had another move in Calgary that they needed to make, and they had to make a choice. It was my stuff or this other person's stuff.
Sion hired a second company to pick his stuff up and complete the move to the tune of $800. He's angry with Canadian Van Lines.
I paid somebody to hold my stuff hostage. I felt very taken advantage of. I felt like a sucker.
Sion filed a complaint with the Consumer Protection Offices in Manitoba and BC, where the company is based. He eventually got a full refund, and he wasn't the only one.
Our investigation found that they had engaged in deceptive business practices. At a high level, we determined that they knowingly and repeatedly made false promises to consumers.
In December, BC Consumer Protection issued this consumer warning and fined Canadian Van Lines $7,500. Shortly after that, the company filed dissolution papers. It appears it is no longer in operation. The moving industry in Canada is unregulated, which is why Sion is sharing his story with anyone contemplating a move.
Do your due diligence. Make sure that you're reading anything you can and asking loved ones or friends that might have done a similar move who they used.
And if all else fails,
trust your gut.
Katie Nicholson, CBC News, Winnipeg.